So here's where we left off, but I took it way further. If you didn't see part one, this started as just a plain concrete slab. So in today's video, I'm picking up where I left off in part one and finishing up the landscaping and bringing everything together. So if you missed part one of this video, I will be posting that in the description, so that way you can get caught up. But in the meantime, let's take a look and see where we're at currently in this landscape. So yeah, let's take a look. All right, so here's where I basically left off the other night. Remember, I managed to plant most of the shrubs, the hedges, the azaleas, and some other plants. And I've also planted some of these plants here in the front. I've also added the brick edging pretty much around the perimeter of the concrete patio space. And I've also added some weed barrier. So I've gotten a chance to do that. I will be sure to link all of the products used in this video in the description. And I do want to mention that whenever I'm landscaping around an area where there's going to be seating and possibly entertainment, I always use the weed tarp because cardboard does attract insects. So you guys may remember in part one, I planted a lot of azaleas. And while planting these azaleas, I tried to keep in mind that azaleas tend to grow and spread. So I tried to actually plant them at least 4 to 5 feet away from the concrete pad. I also went ahead and relocated 2 of my hydrangeas that I previously had planted in my front yard. They weren't really doing that well. They've been over there in that space for like a year, and this is how big they've gotten. So I figured, well, if I plant them in the backyard where there's a lot more shade from all the trees, then hopefully they should grow a little bit better. So that's what I did. I just went ahead and relocated them to the backyard where there's a lot more trees, and of course they get a lot more shade. Once they grow and get bigger, they're going to be so pretty, so gorgeous in this space. So I have 2 of those here, and you can see here where I have some additional azalea plants. So yeah. But right now, the main focus is to get this area completed, because remember I told you guys that I have a sponsorship coming up really, really soon with a gazebo, and I wanted to at least have the landscape completed before I actually start the process of installing the gazebo. So that's the main reason I'm trying to focus on this particular area right now. So yeah, so nothing hasn't changed. Once we actually get this done, we'll definitely move on to the swing area, and then also this particular space over here. So I'm not going to touch this space because again, all of these will be done in individual videos. And you will notice too that this time I added the brick in front of the no dig edging. And let me kind of show you what I'm talking about. So the no dig edging is behind the brick edging. And so this time I just decided to add the brick in front, because normally this is how it looks whenever I add the brick edging behind the no dig. And you can kind of see it here, which is, I mean, either way, it still looks great. I feel like this is cleaner, in my opinion, when you add the bricks behind the edging, but I figured I would do something a little different. So yeah, so that's what I did. Just add the bricks in front. So either way, it really helps with creating a layout, and then it also stops your bricks from moving. And that's why I like to always incorporate that no dig edging, is because those bricks are not going to go anywhere. All right, because it's supported by the no dig edging. So anyway, yeah, that's where we're at. Okay, so what I'm about to do right now is to get the stepping stones from the front yard that I had in my previous walkway in the front yard. I'm going to use those stepping stones in the landscape in the backyard area. So let's go ahead and take a look at those stones. So you might remember these stepping stones and brick edges. I had these in my front yard whenever I did my DIY walkway before I had the walkway concreted. So I just basically kept all of those items, the brick edging, the no dig. I just went ahead and kept everything, and I'm kind of glad I did because I plan to use these stepping stones in the landscape in the backyard. So remember where I showed you guys where I created the little stepping area? So I'm just going to go ahead and use my wheelbarrow and carry a few of these stepping stones in that space, so then that way I'll already have that. All right, so let me give you guys a quick heads up. So I ended up not using these stepping stones. Once I put all the stepping stones down, I really didn't like how the tan color of the stones clashed with the brick edging. Even though I said I was going to paint them individually, y'all, I did not want to go through the hassle of painting each individual stone. But you guys will see what stones I ended up using at the end. All right, so I went ahead and added the stepping stones here. Now, I just added it here so I could kind of get an idea in terms of the spacing and how I want to lay it out. And I'm actually, guys, I'm actually going to put these stepping stones on top of the mulch. And there's a couple of reasons why I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually do that because, number one, the mulch is going to build it up so that it's not so low to the ground, because you can kind of see it has somewhat of a dip when you step off the concrete. So I'm going to build it up or whatever, and that way it won't be so low to the ground whenever you step on them. Something else I'm thinking about doing is adding a walkway path down this little area here on the side of the concrete pad, just to kind of be able to get to my little plums and my blueberries in this area. So I am considering adding those stepping stones all alongside this little area here. Now you could use rocks, pea gravels or something like that. The reason I'm not doing it is because I get so many leaves from these trees, and it's just such a hassle. And you can kind of see what my rocks will look like, you know, with all the leaves falling and everything. So I definitely do not want to add any more rocks or pea gravel to this area. If I were to do it, I would just simply add the stepping stones. So that's what I'm thinking about. Going to add the stepping stones on top of the mulch, which is also going to support the stepping stones a little bit. So that's the plan. And here's another thing that I plan to do. So you guys know how this whole entire area, for the most part, I had black mulch, and I had like the brown mulch up against the fence. And I'll put a little clip here if I can find it, just to kind of show you guys what that looked like when it's refreshed and everything. So I thought about this time maybe adding brown mulch just around the perimeter of this concrete slab. And, you know, of course, whenever I get ready to clean up and, you know, add my mulch and everything to this area, I'll add the black mulch as usual, along with the brown mulch up against the fence. But I think I want to add the brown mulch around the perimeter of the patio concrete slab or whatever. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. You can see here that I also added some hostas. I think I want to add some hostas right up to the edge of this area, so then that way when I add my stepping stone, you also have some beautiful greenery here. And in between the hostas, like here and here, I'm also going to be adding these plants here. I'm going to move them from around the trees. I think these are lirylopes. I'm going to remove these and I'm going to plant those in between the hostas. I'm going to do that on both sides. And then I'm also going to put some in the back, because I have about 6 of them around that tree. So I want to actually put 2 on each side. Let me get started with removing these plants here from around the tree. But before I do that, I think I want to go ahead and dig the hole first for these plants. So then that way when I take them from around the tree, I can put them directly in the ground. right, so now I'm about to get started with adding my stepping stones, but before I get started with that, I want to first create a trench in front of this walkway area, and I'm doing that so that way whenever I do add my mulch has somewhere to settle, especially when it rains. So that's what I'm about to do at the moment. And don't forget, you guys, I started off using these stepping stone, these tan color ones that I had from my previous project, but you can clearly see they do not match the brick edging. So I did end up swapping these out. You will see the final reveal of that later. So like I told you guys before, I'm actually using the mulch as a base for these stepping stones. This is actually helping me to increase the height of that particular space to make sure that it's pretty level with the concrete pad. And then you'll see that I keep shifting around the mulch just to kind of make sure that the stepping stones are balanced. I'm also going to be filling in the gaps between these stepping stones with additional mulch. Good morning, you guys. So it has been yet again a couple of days later, and I wanted to show you guys what I'm about to do now to just kind of basically wrap up this landscape. This is something that I didn't think about doing until the very end, because when I stood back and looked at the landscape, I felt like it needed some height in the front. And I say that because whenever you have a flat landscape, you have to do something to give it some height. And I felt like the pergola that's behind the concrete pad gave it height in the back, but I needed something to give it some height in the front. And one way you can do that is by planting some tall shrubs or some tall trees. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I definitely need to do something just to kind of lift this landscape up, because that really makes it pop and draws the eyes up. So that's what I'm about to do right now. All right, guys, so let me show you what I went ahead and did. So basically I went ahead and added this no dig edging here right in front of the landscape, and you can kind of see it has a nice little curvature here. And I went ahead and ran out and got these trees. These are a smaller size, which I love, because I didn't want them to be too big in the space. I want them to take their time and grow in this area. And over time, as the trees grow, the plants and everything will also mature and grow, so they'll be right on schedule together. But these plants here, these trees, I actually got these from Home Depot. They were $14.98. I absolutely love the way these look. So I think these are going to be perfect in this space. And let me just show you guys here. I got 4 of these. So I got 2 here in the front, as you can see. And then over here, I went ahead and used the no dig edging again. Did that nice little curvature, and went ahead and got 2 more to put over here, and I think that's going to be gorgeous. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and finish staking these stakes in the ground for the no dig edging, just to secure it. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and put these in the ground, mulch the area, and y'all, we should be done. Yes. So let me go ahead and get started with that, you guys. I want to take a moment to say welcome to the channel if you are new and visiting for the first time. My name is Carolina, and if this is the type of content you enjoy and find interesting, I would absolutely love to have you join my family of subscribers. And as always, to my existing subscribers, guys, you know you are always welcome back. I do want to share also that whenever I get ready to do the final reveal, I want to show you all what the landscape looked like before I added these trees, just to kind of show you what I was talking about in terms of the landscape looking too flat. So I am going to show you that first, then I'm going to show you the reveal with the trees. So stay tuned. So at the very last minute, I decided to mulch the entire landscape, not just the landscape around the concrete patio, but everything. And when I tell you guys, I was so tired. I was up all night mulching this entire space, but I'm so glad I did because it really brought out the look of the concrete patio area. All right, y'all, so before the final reveal, let's take a look back and be reminded as to what the space used to look like in the backyard. Remember, we just had a huge hunk of slab just sitting here, okay? And what I want to do is I want to show you guys what the space looked like before I added the trees. So we're going to see that reveal first, then we're going to see the final look of it. So here's a quick look at what that space looked like before I added the trees. So now let's take a look at the final reveal. you guys so much for tuning in and watching. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to hype this video, give it a thumbs up, and share it with your friends and family. And let me know in the comments, do you guys prefer the landscape without the tree or the one with the trees? In any event, let me know in the comments what you thought of the entire process. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in, and I'll see you guys really soon in my next video. Bye now.